Breaking news tonight, the Republican National Committee getting back into the Alabama Senate race, saying it will transfer money to the state Republican Party. This move follows President Trump's full endorsement today of GOP candidate Roy Moore, tweeting that he wants Moore to win in Alabama because he needs his vote on legislation involving crime, illegal immigration, the border wall, the Second Amendment, and other issues. I'm telling you, you just can't keep up with it. Let's bring in now senior political commentators Bakari Sellers and Ed Martin, and Tara Setmeyer, a former communications director for Congressman Dana Rohrabacher. Hello, Tara.
Good evening.
What? Why that face? I was about to ask you a question. You should have seen the look on your face. Why?
Because, well, from that tweet, number one, but also because it was announced tonight that the RNC is actually going back to financially supporting Roy Moore. I'm watching the Republican Party destroy itself. This is outrageous. I cannot think of a time when the Republicans, the party that I have loved, worked for, supported for 20 plus years of my life, when they've ever been so morally bankrupt. You know, it reminds me of a quote by Benjamin Franklin. It says, only a virtuous people can enjoy, are capable of freedom. And that as a nation becomes more corrupt and vicious, they're more in need of masters. That is exactly what's happening today. The tribalism that we are seeing within the party, what's happening in Alabama, the fact that the National Party now is backing this credibly accused child molester is despicable. And
you're wearing an earpiece, right? Do you
yes,
hear that?
I am.
That's Ed Martin.
Of course. See, part of the tribe. I mean, you know. But
it's amazing. It's amazing.
She's talking about you, Ed.
Outraged.
She's talking about you.
It's amazing. Well, listen, I got a couple observations, Don. I sat on the RNC for 2+ years, and I want to say this about the RNC. They've not covered themselves in glory here. I think that they quit early with no good reason, no real reason, and now they came back. And the reason they're back, Don, though, is, let's be clear, the reason they're back is not because they care. It's because it's a cover-your-tail exercise. Because if Roy Moore wins, they need to claim that they were part of it. If he loses a close race, they need to not have to tell their donors why they lost. But I just got to offer this to everybody that does this. The guy was accused of something, and I've said over and over again that we have no reason to disbelieve the women either. I don't know them. But the idea that 5 weeks before an election, you can go on national TV and call someone a child molester based on accusations is as breathtaking an insult and slur as anything you can say.
Ed, let me ask you something. Hold on, Tara.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if it's true? How do you feel about that?
Well, if it's true, if we find out it's true, then the guy should be wrung out and run out of office. But we don't know it's true.
How much more evidence do you need? How much more evidence do you need?
Because
First of
there's
all,
no evidence,
Roy Moore is a liar. He's a liar. He lied about taking money. He lied about taking. Let's go over this. Let's look at Roy Moore. He lied about taking over $1 million from a foundation that he claimed that he didn't take any money from. That was supposed to be a small salary. It was over $1 million. He lied about that. He lied about not knowing any of these accusers whatsoever. Yet 2 of them have handwritten notes from him, one in a yearbook and one in a scrapbook, which came out today in the Washington Post. And the woman that came out and showed her scrapbook that had contemporaneous written in notes about him being at her high school graduation and sending her a card, she said that she initially was uncomfortable with what the other women were saying. She couldn't believe that he would do that until she saw that he lied about not knowing her because he dated her in public. She was 17, he was 34.
Tara,
he also called a high school girl in her trigonometry class. He's claiming he doesn't know all these girls, and you have over 30 to 40 contemporaneous witnesses that also corroborated these women's stories. So what more do you need at this point?
Let me just read this. This is the last line. Hold on, I'm going to let you respond, Ed. I am. I just want to, as Tara was saying, this is the last paragraph in the Washington Post. She said, and she talks about the tape where he was speaking and
at a rally.
At a rally. This is the last line. It says, at 34 minutes and 56 seconds into the video, he says unequivocally, "I did not know any of them," Gibson said. "In that moment, it changed my perspective. I knew he was a liar." She initially supported him. That's her thought.
Yeah, look, Don, look, what I'm saying to Tara, and she can go on a rant and she can list all these things, and the Washington Post is.
It's not a rant.
Listen, Don, if you're gonna let her interrupt, then I'm not gonna bother.
You're talking.
Don,
Go ahead.
If you're gonna let me finish. Well, look, I mean, here's the facts. The facts are that 6 weeks before an election, when most of the people on all sides of the aisle didn't want Roy Moore, these rolled out. And I have said over and over again that we ought to honor the people accusing him. But the fact is that there's lots of discrepancies in the accusation. To go on to national TV and call someone a child molester is absolutely despicable to do. And here you can dislike his politics, you can dislike his answers, and the people of Alabama are going to vote. And the point is, there have been lots of people that have had accusations and worse, admissions. Think of Ted Kennedy.
Okay,
Think of
hold on, Terry. I've got to get to the break. Before I get to the break, let me ask you something.
I'm here.
I know,
Don.
Bakari, you and I are just going to go sit in the next room and eat popcorn and let them fight it out. I promise, Bakari, you'll get a lot of time in the next block. But I just want you to think about this. Are we supposed to believe Bill Clinton's accusers, Bill Cosby's accusers, Al Franken's accusers,
Harvey
Weinstein's accusers, John Conyers' accusers, all of these accusers, that Republicans who are now saying the same thing that you're saying, Ed, they come on and say, throw them out. We're supposed to believe all these people. Get rid of them. Liberal Hollywood, all of that. But we're not supposed to believe the accusers of
You've not heard
Roy
me say that, Don.
Moore. Why is that? We'll discuss when we come back. So I'm back now with the group, and we're discussing what's happening down in Alabama. So, Ed, we're not supposed to believe any of those people. We're supposed to believe any of them.
I've said there's a difference over and over again, Don, on your show and everywhere else on CNN, that if somebody admits to it, like Al Franken admitted to it, Conyers admitted to it, the FBI agent has now admitted to misconduct, then there ought to be a standard. But if someone denies it, whether it's Donald Trump or Roy Moore, we shouldn't. I'm not saying Roy Moore should be only believed, but 5 or 6 weeks before an election, Don.
That's what you're saying. The Access Hollywood tape was a couple weeks before the election. The president admitted to it and apologized for it. Then what's the difference? Well, it was true. It turned out to be true.
He admitted it to it.
But it turned out to be true. It was on tape. He couldn't. The reason I'm asking you, here's why this upsets me, okay? And this is no secret to, except for new people who are watching, that I was a victim of childhood sexual abuse. And it is tough. No one, Ed, no one, no matter how old you are, wants to come out and admit that publicly. It is just not something that is done, especially when you're talking about something that happens at that young an age. And that is what's so upsetting to so many people. And here you are, sitting here on CNN, twisting yourself into a pretzel to try to defend something that is indefensible. Not one person wants to come out and say that. Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Certainly not 12 women.
What's the benefit to these women? They get hate mail. They're not getting any financial benefit or anything out of this either. I mean, intent matters too.
I mean, please, Don, if you're going to say that to me on national television, at least give me a chance to say something back. I mean, I have never said that we shouldn't, when someone alleges, especially childhood abuse, and there's one of the claims that it's a 14-year-old, I have never said we shouldn't honor that and investigate it. It should be done. But what I've said is when the litany of things rolled out, a lot of them by non-minors, the question is, who do you believe? I don't disbelieve the women. I'm just saying that the people of Alabama get to vote on who they want, and we'll see what happens. And to call someone a child molester is really outrageous.
Okay, go on.
Hey, Don.
Bakari. Yeah, sorry I didn't get a chance to talk. Go ahead, Bakari.
Thank you for letting me join the conversation. I think that multiple women in Alabama actually were minors. In fact, you had the instance where he was banned from the mall. You had the 14-year-old. You had the 17-year-old. You've had these instances before. But this reminds me of, I think it was 1983 with Governor Edwards down in your home state, Don, of Louisiana, who said I couldn't lose an election if I was caught with unless I was caught with a live boy or a dead girl. I mean, what we're seeing now is we're seeing as Tara said, we're seeing the decay of the Republican Party. And what's more troublesome for me is the hypocrisy. That's what gets me. I mean, you have a party, and I'm not going to debate this right now, but you have a party who cares so much about a child in the womb. However, they're willing to put someone who has these type of serious charges. I mean, Ivanka Trump said it best. There's no place for anyone who preys on children, I guess, except the United States Senate. So that's first. And second, you have Donald Trump, the hypocrisy again of saying that he wanted a law and order candidate. You have someone here who is accused of one of the most, if not the most serious crimes we have. The fact that Republicans want to put, and we're in a place now where we have to decide what type of America we want to be, but we have gone back into our tribalism, we've gone back into our respective corners, and Republicans literally want to put someone who many people believe has valid accusations of pedophilia against them in the United States Senate.
Yeah, as awful as it sounds for him to say that, it is even more awful for the people who are involved personally in that, Ed. I hope you understand.
And Roy Moore got thrown out twice for not upholding the law, and he's supposed to be a judge. Yet you want a law. He's a law and order candidate. He was unfit before these. I got
to go. Hey, look, you guys will come back, but Billy Bush is talking. We're going to talk about that. We'll be right back. All right, back now with everyone. So the whole Roy Moore thing now comes as Billy Bush, who was with President Trump on that Access Hollywood bus and on that tape, confirms that Donald Trump did say those words about assaulting women. And Bush writes, this is in the New York Times, he said, along with Donald Trump and me, there were 7 other guys present on the bus at the time, and every single one of us assumed we were listening to a crass stand-up act. And then he goes on to talk about the president. Listen. Donald Trump is president of the United States. Billy Bush does not have a job. There are higher standards for a morning cable host, a third hour, whatever Billy Bush did. And I respect Billy Bush a lot, his career and what he did. But why is Billy Bush fired? And why does Donald Trump become president of the United States, Bakari? What's happening here? Because, the president denied saying it wasn't him on that tape. It didn't sound like him. That's what he said.
But, that's a legitimate question, because you have Harvey Weinstein, you have Matt Lauer. The list goes on and on and on. And we were talking about Roy Moore and Donald Trump. These individuals had to pay consequences. They are paying consequences. They should pay consequences. And the only people that go without paying consequences are Roy Moore and Donald Trump. So, yes, we have a problem in this country. I think Al Franken needs to resign. I think John Conyers needs to resign. I think that Donald Trump needs to resign. And I don't think that Roy Moore belongs in the United States Senate. I think I can feed everybody out of the same spoon. But with that being said, although we have moral decay going on in our country under the Trump administration, the Republican Party needs to look at itself. But even more specifically, and people are going to get mad at me for saying this, but white evangelicals need to look themselves in the mirror and say, what do we stand for? Those are the people that call themselves Christian, but they ain't really Christ-like.
Don't preach. I'll give you a gone. Why? Tell us why. It's true.
Because
Tell
they're
us why.
hypocrites.
Because no. It's enabling. When you have individuals who go out on a limb every Sunday morning and they preach the gospel of Christ, but then they turn a blind eye to someone like Roy Moore or someone like Donald Trump for tax cuts, listen,
even worse,
I'm not
they're
someone
not turning a blind eye. They're hiding behind Scripture. Let's not forget what happened a couple weeks ago with the Roy Moore situation. They were actually trying to use biblical Scripture to hide behind this nonsense.
But don't you know
the evangelicals
that is how
are the most
people
disappointing.
hid behind racism and slavery and Jim Crow and homophobia. Yeah. So, Bakari, you have a point, and I say to the end of the segment, and I mean it. Thank you for saying it, brother. Bye. That's it. See you next time, all of you. This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. It is 11 p.m. here on the East Coast, and we're live with news tonight on the Russia investigation. What did the president know, and when did he know it? And is his tweet evidence of attempted obstruction of justice? The president continues to defend Michael Flynn in spite of the bombshell guilty plea from his former national security advisor. And he continues to slam his favorite target, his election opponent. I want you to listen to the president, what he says today.
Well, I feel badly for General Flynn. I feel very badly. He's led a very strong life, and I feel very badly, John. I will say this. Hillary Clinton lied many times to the FBI. Nothing happened to her. Flynn lied, and they destroyed his life. I think it's a shame. Hillary Clinton, on the 4th of July weekend, went to the FBI, not under oath. It was the most incredible thing anyone's ever seen. She lied many times. Nothing happened to her. Flynn lied, and it's like they ruined his life. It's very unfair. Thank you very much.
So the president defending Michael Flynn, an admitted liar with lies of his own about Hillary Clinton. James Comey testified under oath that Hillary Clinton did not lie to the FBI, that there was no basis to conclude that. So let's get right to CNN Legal.